I'm getting increasingly annoyed with GoPro cameras. I've used GoPro cameras for as long as they've been out. I've had every single GoPro camera that has ever been released. I have used action cameras to document all my mountain bike videos on this channel. But in the last few years, GoPro has really annoyed me because they've just become lazy. Ever since the Hero 10 came out, all the iterations of GoPro since then have been very, very minimal in terms of like enhancement, making the user experience better, generally making a better camera. Action cameras nowadays are insane. All the action cameras that are available to buy for consumers are incredible. For me as a mountain biker, I use action cameras to document all of my experiences, adventures, riding to share on this channel. So I want a camera that is reliable, can do what I'm asking it to do, won't just suddenly freeze and break, won't run out of battery, won't overheat, all this stuff, which I feel GoPros have been doing like clockwork for the past few years.
I am over GoPro.
I don't know what's going on. GoPro just overheated after like a minute and a half of being on.
They constantly freeze, constantly lose footage.
And by no means am I saying that GoPro are a bad camera, but there is a new kid on the block, the DJI Osmo Action 4, and today I want to do a head-to-head test between that camera and the GoPro Hero 12. I want to just compare the two, and you can make your own mind up as to which way to go with action cameras. So let's talk about the raw specs and the aesthetics of these cameras and the weight as well. If we look at the cameras side by side, they literally look identical. They look very similar. They have a rear and front screen, they have a big lens on there, and they weigh pretty much the same. I think the DJI camera is maybe 10 grams lighter than the GoPro. Resolution, both these cameras shoot an incredibly high resolution. The DJI shoots at 4K at 30 frames a second, and the GoPro shoots at 5.3K at 30 frames a second. Something else to add as well, so the DJI will shoot at 4K at 120 frames a second. The GoPro will shoot at 240 frames a second. However, you have to drop the frame rate and it will crop in as well. So we go 240, only a wide lens and 2.7K resolution. The DJI can also shoot at 240 frames a second at 1080 as well. Now, where I think get really interesting is when we're talking about low light performance. Low light in mountain biking is the biggest challenge that any action camera manufacturer has to overcome. We're shooting in super exposed light. We're going in between trees. We're going in and out of the woods. And you want a camera that has the dynamic capability to keep up with this. And DJI have a much bigger sensor on their camera which allows this. Whether you're riding in the deep dark woods or you're super exposed like I'm here in California, the camera can cope way better, and you're going to get way better low light performance out of the DJI camera than the GoPro. All right, Scotland is known for its dark woods, well, in a leaf anyway. So let's drop in and see how this goes. Oh. Whoa. It is a bit soggy. Oh. Oh. Like a toboggan track. Whoa! Oh, I overcut that one. Field of view is also another big thing when it comes to using action cameras for mountain biking. So right now, this is a super wide shot. You can see a lot of stuff going on around me. You want as wide a shot as possible to capture your action sports and mountain biking and make it feel as immersive as possible for the viewer. I feel both these cameras have very, very wide field of views. The DJI camera has 4 or 5 degrees wider field of view, so you're going to get a slightly wider angle because of that sensor size and because of their overall the camera. What you'll find as well on the GoPro, you'll find that the edges of the frame will actually be enhanced and ever so slightly warped. Now, this isn't my cup of tea, it might be for you, but I prefer a much more flat image, flat wide image from the DJI camera right now versus the GoPro, which almost bends the side and the corners of the image to make it look wider or make it feel wider when it's actually not. Now, both these cameras have incredible stability. GoPro has their hyper smooth, DJI has their rock steady. And to be honest with you, I can't tell the difference between the two. They're both incredible. They both stabilize the footage. They make it super crispy, buttery smooth, even when you're filming at 120 frames a second or 30 frames a second, which is what I'm filming on right now and what I generally film most of my videos on. What about usability of these cameras? How easy are they to actually use? There's no point in us having a camera that is supposed to be simple to use and fast to use that just takes too much faff. Action cameras, we want them to turn on as fast as possible. We want them to be easy to use so we can click a button and record our action without missing a beat. When it comes to usability and navigation around these cameras, I would say the DJI camera and the GoPro are very different beasts. They're both very customizable, they're both fairly simple to navigate around. I do feel that the DJI has the upper edge on this though, especially if you are a beginner looking for something a lot simpler to set up. I feel with the DJI camera you can swipe around, you can set your camera up exactly how you want it without, minimal input basically, and still get a really good shot. The GoPro, I feel you have to fumble around a little bit through menus and you can get a little bit more customized and you can get a little bit more advanced. But if you want something where you can just turn the camera on, set the settings how you want, and then go ride and go and shoot, I feel the DJI does have the upper hand on this. Another thing I've noticed as well with the DJI camera is the touchscreen speed. It's insane. So just show you quickly the responsiveness of the touchscreen on here. I've got gloves on as well. Real responsive, quite easily make adjustments on the fly, no bother. So on the GoPro now, it's responsive. I do feel it's a little bit, oh, see, look at that, it's not even, I feel I almost lick my finger on my glove just to get it to respond better, and a little bit more complicated in the menu system and stuff. The speed these cameras turn on is like critical. We need a camera that can turn on fast. So let's put these cameras side by side now, and I'm gonna press the power on button and let's see how fast these cameras can turn on. 3, 2, 1. Like the DJI camera literally starts recording in an instant, whereas the GoPro takes a little bit longer to power on. So both these cameras also have a rearward facing screen and a front facing screen, which is great. The DJI, however, has a touchscreen on the front of the camera. The GoPro does not. So if you want to make some minimal adjustments, you can do that on the DJI camera by just swiping and pressing a few buttons. The GoPro, you'd have to turn your camera around and adjust from the back of the screen. Both cameras are great if you want to do some vlogging or talking to yourself and making sure you are in the frame. Now, camera mounting. This is where things get really interesting and quite exciting actually. If you've been using GoPros for a while, you'll be very familiar with the two-prong legs, which can be a bit of a fiddle to pull out of the camera, especially if you ride it with gloves on a mountain bike like I do. DJI though, again, have come out the gate with a magnetic mounting piece, which is revolutionary. You can attach your camera to your helmet, your chin, or your chest mount in seconds, and you can also take it off in seconds. I'll put a side-by-side comparison right now so you can see just how fast you can take this camera off a chest mount versus the GoPro. You see what I mean? It's literally night and day difference. One thing people are going to be asking as well is the price of these cameras. The price they both are, they're both very competitively priced. Again though, the DJI comes in at considerably less as of recording this video than the GoPro. And what about if we talk about battery life and charge time? The runtime on the Osmo Action 4 is 160 minutes. And that's not even what's the most mind-blowing bit, right? If you run out of battery, which you shouldn't anyway, it'll do a fast charge and you'll be able to get back up to 80% of a charged battery in like 18 minutes. Crazy, crazy good. GoPros take a considerably longer time to charge those batteries. When you want to be making sure you catch the action and not sat waiting for batteries to charge, the DJI really does have the upper hand here. And what about if we talk about audio quality? Both cameras have incredible audio. I will play some footage now, side by side or one after the other, so you can see quite clearly what the audio sounds like on both cameras, and you can make your decision for yourself on which sounds better. All right, we are riding up to the top of the trail. All right, we are riding up to the top of the trail. Quite a nice track to ride up. We're in Truckee, California, and it's so dry. Quite a nice track to ride up. We're in Truckee, California, and it's so dry. Tell you what is worth looking at now. I've actually got the mic on here. Let's see how far this thing can go. So if I put my camera down, let's see. Oh, if I ride off down here, let's see how far the audio goes for. See if you can still hear me loud and clear. Kind of like 30 meters away from the camera now, maybe 40 meters. Very impressive. Impressive. I don't want to get wet. Whoa. Charging.
So that little noise you can hear is actually the microphone hitting off the chest mount, which was stupidly my fault. I could easily solve this just by moving the microphone a little bit to the left or the right, and it would sound pretty decent.
Oh, a bit slippy. Oh. Yes. So now comes the hardest question of the video, is which camera should you buy, or which would I recommend you go and check out? Now both these cameras do a really good job of helping you capture your action, sports and adventures at a really good price. And they're both crazy good cameras. Like I said at the start of this video about being annoyed by GoPro cameras, you can probably see which way this is steering for me personally. I'm not saying GoPros are bad cameras. For the experience I've had in the last years with GoPro cameras, I really do think other camera companies are coming in and innovating way more than GoPro are, which is why right now in this comparison video, I will be choosing the DJI Osmo Action 4 camera over the GoPro Hero 12. That's just my clear-cut choice. I'm not saying the GoPro Hero 12 is a bad camera by any means, but I just feel the usability, the functionality of the camera, how quickly the thing turns on, and just generally how good the footage is and the audio sounds straight out the box for a general consumer. It's a clear winner for me. Please do let me know in the comments which you prefer. Like, what camera do you prefer? Would you be going for the Action 4 camera, or are you a true GoPro fan and be sticking with the Hero 12? Again, both these cameras are fantastic. I know which one I'm going to be choosing. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments on this.